Hey guys, it's Hannah, and today we are making homemade bread. It is quick, it is easy, it's delicious, and it's way better for you than the store-bought stuff. So come along with me as I show you how to make it. First things first, we're gonna mill up some flour. This is hard white wheat. Our recipe calls for 8 cups, so I put about 6 cups of wheat berries in there. Let's get this guy turned on and let it grind. Okay guys, this is what our flour looks like fresh out of the grinder. Like I said, we need about 8 cups. And I'm gonna start with this hard red wheat that I actually have left over from another bread recipe I did. So I'm just gonna dump this in here and start counting. You could weigh this out, but I'm just going to use cups. 6. 7. 1 more. And 8. Now whatever I have left over in here, I will just dump in my container and use later. Alright, so why use fresh milled flour? I have this fresh milled flour Bible here. It tells you everything you need to know about it, how to grind it, why to grind it, and some troubleshooting things in here. There's also a bunch of recipes in the back. The recipe I'm using is just a plain sandwich bread. It's not in this. This has a bunch of fancy recipes. But I definitely recommend reading through this. It's like a book in the front, an educational book, and then it has recipes in the back. So definitely check that out if you are new to fresh milled flour. But in a nutshell, there's more natural enzymes, more fiber, more protein, and it's just better, more easily digestible. It's better for your body, all that stuff. So that's why we're doing that today. So we have our 8 cups of flour here. We're going to do 1.5 cups of milk and 1.5 cups of water. That was a perfect 1.5 cup left in this. And I am going to get some warm water for this. All right, our recipe calls for 4 teaspoons of yeast. And I do keep my yeast in the freezer to keep it fresh. And it is active yeast, so I'm going to let it sit in this water for a little bit while we measure some other stuff. All right, we also need 6 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to melt this in the microwave. It's cold from the fridge, so I'm gonna make sure it's all melted so it mixes in there pretty easily. All right, while that's melting, let's move on to some salt. We need 1 tablespoon or 3 teaspoons. Just about 3. All right. Okay. Gotta stir this yeast in a little bit. It's getting nice and bubbly. Okay, we have our flour, we have our milk, we have our water and our yeast, our butter's in the microwave, we have our salt. Okay, 2 eggs and 6 tablespoons of honey. These are farm fresh eggs from my chickens. Oh. My hands now. All right, our butter is just about melted. Just gonna stir that last little spot till it gets done and dump that in. Okay, start incorporating this. Our yeast and water looks good. Dump that in there. You can see I'm just dumping and going. And fresh milled flour tends to be a little little bit stickier of a dough. You have to give it more time to rehydrate and soak up the water because it has the extra bran and germ in it. It takes more time to soak up water. So you can expect it to be a little sticky. And also with fresh milled flour, you have less kneading time. So I'm just gonna get this incorporated. And this is what we're looking like. You can see it's pretty wet. So I'm just gonna let this sit for 15 minutes, let it rehydrate, and then I will knead it just for a little bit and let it proof in the oven. Just kidding, I forgot the honey. That would have been tragic. Okay, so 6 tablespoons, so that is 1/4 cup and 2 tablespoons. Oh, this is gonna take forever. Nope, not doing that. Okay. A little extra honey never hurt anyone. Right. We'll get all this in here. Give myself an arm workout trying to mix this honey in. If you guys have never tried one of these Danish dough whisks, definitely recommend. Way easier than the other whisks. All right. Now we will give this 15 minutes to sit and rehydrate, then we will knead it and stick it in the oven to proof. Okay, it's been 15 minutes of rehydrating. Still sticky, but you can see it holds its shape a little bit more. So let's go and get this ready to knead. So, they say with fresh milled flour, you're not supposed to knead it with more flour. They say it's easiest to use, to grease up your counter and your hands. Because if you add more flour, it can change the recipe. And then with the needing to rehydrate and stuff, it's not the same as using like all-purpose flour. But we'll see if I can knead this. It's not terrible, but we're just gonna knead it until we get a smoother dough. And I might get my bench scraper to help with this. Okay, as you can see, I switched to kneading it in the bowl. It did pick up a little bit more shape, but hard white wheat can be a little bit softer than the hard red wheat. So that's why I took it off the counter, because I didn't want to add more flour and mess with that. But it did start getting a little bit more shape. So now I'm going to grease it so it doesn't dry out, cover it with a towel, and throw it in the oven. I do have my oven set to proofing, which is, it says 100 degrees. least an hour or until it doubles in size. I don't think I told you, but we are making 2 5x9 loaves. It is a double batch. So that bowl should be pretty big, and then when it has doubled in size, I will bring it out, shape it, and stick it in the pans. Okay, so it's been just over an hour since we set our dough to proof, and it looks like it has almost doubled in size. That Fresh Milled Flour Bible does say that hard white wheat doesn't quite rise as well as a typical flour does, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna re-grease up the counter, my baking pans, and my hands. Roll this out. Probably should have greased the actual bowl before letting it rise, but that's okay. I'm going to just kind of split this in half. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you can see it's less sticky than before. Still sticky, but better. And I'm just going to shape this into a rectangle. I'm just going to shape this into a rectangle and kind of roll it in on itself. And it's kind of hard to create tension with it so sticky. I'm just going to try to scoot it along the counter and roll. Try to create a little surface tension. That's okay if it doesn't. It'll be fine. Just gonna plop this in here. Tuck the ends back under. And you can see it's nice and stretchy. But if you stretch it out, you can see kind of close to that window pane. That window pane where you stretch it out and you can see through it. And kind of push it back out into a rectangle. It's a little bit bigger than my pan. And then roll it in on itself or fold it. The ends. And then try to create some surface tension here. That one did a little bit better. All right, so now I'm gonna put these back in the oven to proof for probably another 30-45 minutes until they fill out the pans, and then we will put them into the other oven to bake at 350. You guys, it's been 30 minutes, and look at these. Ooh. Oh. Alexa, cancel. See, told you it's been 30 minutes. They have definitely doubled in size. And we're gonna get them in this oven at 350, and I'm so excited. I'm seriously starving. So another 30 minutes and then we'll see if they're done. So at 30 minutes, I took their temperature and they were at about 140 degrees. It's been another 7 minutes and this one has reached 190 degrees. And I believe it's supposed to be between 190 and 205. The other one is still at 170, so I'm gonna give that a couple more minutes. But this guy, we're gonna butter the top of. Also, I switched out babies. This is the other baby. She was throwing a fit and has now passed out. So, just butter the top of that and get a knife. Slide this. This is gonna be good. This smells amazing. I cannot wait to eat this. Okay. Let's see, easiest way to do this while holding a baby. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait to cut into this. I'm supposed to let it completely cool. But I don't want to. There's nothing better than... Alexa, cancel. Thought I already shut that off. But there is nothing better than fresh, warm bread. I'm definitely not gonna wait. But let me check this other temperature. It's close. One side was at 190, the other one was like 188. So I'm just gonna give it another minute in there and then I'll let it sit on the counter in the pan for a little bit before I flip it out. But let's cut into this guy. For some reason, my knife set did not come with a serrated knife. So I don't have the proper utensil. You see that? Oh, oh my goodness. That is the best thing I've ever had in my life. Oh my gosh. Don't you wish you could sleep that hard? I do. Get some butter on here. You guys, this is amazing. And it's from fresh milk flour, so it's good for you. Yeah, this is gonna be gone. Fast. So I'm just gonna get the top of this one buttered. And like I said, give it a few minutes to cool down in the pan to cook a little bit more. Turn it out, let them cool in here. Once they're completely cool, I'll probably stick this one in the freezer and I'll wrap this one up in a bag. I'll probably cut this one tomorrow. I'm not gonna cut it right now. All right guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope you try out this recipe because it is amazing. Seriously, the taste is great and it's good for you. Comment below if you try it, comment if you like it, what you would do differently, and please like, subscribe, follow along for more. See you guys.